right, Elijah, please confirm that you can hear me loud and clear. Elijah, are you there?
Yeah, sure. Chukwemeka, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. Once more, welcome to this amazing masterclass where we're going to be having a very, very interesting conversation. Okay, so we're about to start. And if you know anyone that you feel is going to benefit from this discussion that we are about to have, feel free to share the link for this masterclass with them so that they can also be able to join us. But before we jump into our discussion, I would love to know you and also know where you are joining us from. All right, so just put in the comment section your name and the location that you are joining us from so that I can also be able to acknowledge your presence, and then we can start immediately. Okay, so let's do that within the next couple of minutes. I can see a lot of comments already. Someone is mentioning they are new and so on and so forth. Today, we're going to have a lot of discussion, Tessie. All right, but before we jump right into those discussions, let's get to know each other and the location that you are joining from before we jump right into it. Okay, I can see Violet from Manchester, Abigail from Ghana, amazing. I can see Patrick from Northampton. I can see Oluwaseun from Manchester. I think we'll have a lot of people join us from UK today. I can see JMK from USA, Jennifer from London, Vimal from US, Oluchi from London, Esther from Manchester, Caleb from Kenya, from UK, from Kenya, okay, both. And of course, Naomi from USA, Bayemi from Birmingham, Joy from USA, Blessing, London, Ben from Nigeria, amazing. So this is the beauty of tech engagements like this. You can easily see that we have people joining from UK, we have people joining from US, we have people joining from Italy, we have someone joining from Nigeria, we have people from Kenya, from Ghana, and so on and so forth. So this is to show you that tech is a universal language. No matter where you are joining from, definitely you are going to benefit from what we are about to discuss today. I also love to know if today is your first time of joining any of our sessions. Okay, if today is the first time of you joining any of our session, feel free to type in a 1. But if you've been to any of our previous sessions, just put any number as you deem fit. Okay, I can see a lot of 1 from Albert, Joy, Jumi, Tessie, me. I can see a 5, and of course iPhone. I can see a 5, and also Odong a 2. Amazing. For everyone that's doing the first time of them being here, welcome to Analytics Tech Series. I promise you, by the time that we're done with this discussion, your eyes are going to be opened and you're going to see more than you usually see. And our discussion today is centered around how your past work experience gets you an in-demand job in the UK, US, and of course, Canada. So when we talk about UK, US, and Canada, even if you are joining from Australia, joining from Nigeria, joining from Ghana, don't feel left out. Okay, so the reason why we use these 3 countries is because most time they're the benchmark of what other countries are looking up to. Okay, and that is why strictly we love to always talk about the 3 of them. Okay, so we're going to jump into our discussion for today. All right, and who exactly organized this event? So we are Analytics, and we are the leading educational technology company that's helping people of the Black community to break into the tech industry. And how exactly do we do this? By lowering the entry barrier into the tech industry, making sure you get the real world experience. When recruiters mention, oh, I want someone with 3 years of experience, 4 years of experience, we make sure that you get all those experiences for you to be able to land your job. All right. And we've been doing this for close to 5 years now, and we've helped 3,000 people to transition from our classroom into landing their job in US, UK, Canada, and of course, Europe, Africa, and also Asia. And there are basically 8 career paths that we major in. And before this session is over, I'm going to tell us the reason why those 8 career paths are just the ones that we offer. And that includes data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analysis, HR analytics, agile project management, that's Scrum Master, and also cybersecurity, and of course, soon to come, AI engineering. And how exactly do we do this? All right, we bring in amazing facilitators that already have real-world experiences from PwC, from KPMG, to come back to the classroom to walk our students through what they need to know, all right, before they can be able to land jobs. So it's not just a theoretical class, it's a class where you learn using the experience of what others already have, and then ultimately grow from there. So if today is your first time of being here, I hope by now you understand who we are and what we also do. Okay, so my colleague Elijah is going to be dropping a link in the comment section. Okay, so for everyone that's today the first time, make sure that you fill that attendance form so that by the time we are done having this discussion, we're going to send the slide that we are using and also the recorded version of this conversation. So that if you missed out on anything, you always go back to that version to rewatch it again. All right, so he just dropped it. Let's make sure that we fill that attendance form so that we can be able to send you the goodies, which includes the recorded version of this discussion, as well as the slide that we are going to be using. So who am I that's been speaking to you for the last couple of minutes? My name is Chukwemeka Ekpa, and I'm the CEO of Tenalytics. All right, I have close to a decade of experience in governance, risk, and compliance, as well as strategic consulting. Personally, I've helped close to 1,500 individuals to transition into their jobs from our classroom. My experience spans across the financial service industry as a governance, risk, and compliance officer in the capital market, hospitality, and right now in the educational technology space. Okay, so feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn at Chukwemeka Ekpa, or Twitter at Emeka_Highs, or Instagram at Ekpa_Chooks. And definitely we are going to also continue the conversation from any of these platforms. So we're going to jump right into our discussion for today. And I promise you in the next 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, we should be done. Okay? Now, clearly, what do you expect to take out of this session? All right, we all already understand the name of the conversation that we're having today. Okay, and the main discourse that we're going to be having is how your past work experience gets you an in-demand job in the UK, US, and of course, Canada. All right, and by the time that we're done with this discussion, I assure you, you're going to understand all the in-demand career paths and the necessary steps that you can take for you to be able to get into any of them. Some of us made this decision earlier this year that, oh, I'm going to break into tech in 2025. January is over, February, March, April, May, June. We are at the half year already. So now is always the best time for you to make all those decisions. Okay, so first thing I want all of us to understand is that it is possible. Okay, so I want all of us to have this mindset shift that it is possible for you to actually be able to get into this career path that you want to be in. Because many a times we always feel, oh, I'm moving from Nigeria to UK, I'm moving from Ghana to US, I'm moving from Mali to Canada. Do I actually have the skills for me to be able to land a job there? My experience in my initial countries, are they entirely a waste? The answer to that question is no. All right. Mistake that we make most time is assuming that our initial work experience is entirely a waste. So I'm here today to tell you how you can easily be able to build on your own initial experience for you to be able to land all those jobs that you are looking out for. So first of all, I want all of us to believe that it is possible. All right. So I hope you can see my screen. I hope we can see my screen because I'm about to start some explanations. Now, the easiest way for you to actually be able to get into the tech sector, utilizing your initial work experience, is by first of all, finding a transferable skill. All right, so what dimension? You need to find a transferable skill. I'm going to give us an example before I touch on what we have on my slide. So I was speaking to a teacher, was it yesterday? And this teacher mentioned, oh, I studied English and French, first degree. Currently I teach, but I want to be in the tech sector. How can I actually get into this place, still utilizing my initial work experience and be able to find a perfect fitting in the tech ecosystem? So let me give an example using this exact individual who is a teacher. So let's assume that this is the individual teacher. Now, we had a series of discussion, and from our discussion, we found out that one is that as a teacher, she had instances where she was constantly interacting with the students, right? She was constantly interacting with the students. So let me write these things down. I hope we all can see my screen clearly. She interacted with the students as well as also interacted with the parents, and then of course the school management. Now, if we look at this from the tech eye, we are going to classify all these guys here to be what we call stakeholders. Stakeholders. Okay, so each one of them, the students, the parents, the management team, they're all part of the stakeholders that the teacher had to interact with. All right. And at some point, before the teacher has to make a decision on how to interact with any of the students, he might check, oh, what kind of person is this student? What kind of person is the parent? And what kind of management do I have? So at those moments that he or she is considering all these things, she's performing what we call stakeholder analysis. Stakeholder analysis, right? And if you look at the career path in the tech industry, that stakeholder analysis tilts towards 100%, the answer is business analysis. Okay, the answer is business analysis. Because as a business analyst, you have instances where you are analyzing stakeholders before you can make a decision. Now, this same teacher that we have here, remember, she's just a teacher that is trying to learn and transition into the tech space. It simply means that the easiest way for this teacher to get into this tech environment is by looking at the business analysis career path. I don't know if we are all following me to this very moment. Are we all following? The easiest way for this teacher to get into the tech industry is by looking at business analysis. Now, what this simply means is that the teacher, by virtue of the fact that they've performed stakeholder analysis before, in their CV right now, they can decide to modify it, that instead of having teacher, maybe the person taught in one high school like that, instead of just having a teacher there, she can easily be able to replace that teaching word with, let's say, business officer. All right, she can replace it as a business officer for that exact institute. And right underneath it, she can now bullet point all the activities that she was able to do. Now, of course, she's a teacher, so she's also going to say, oh, maybe, taught a class of so, and so. And then number two, she's going to do performed what we call stakeholder analysis. All right. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Perform stakeholder analysis. Now, by the fact that she now has this stakeholder analysis, she can comfortably be able to now mention that she has been in the business analysis space. But remember, she was just previously a teacher. I don't know if we are all getting the point I'm trying to make right now. If you are following to this very moment, please just put any comment in the chat box so that I'll be sure that the 83 people I have here, that people can actually understand what I'm communicating. Okay, thank you. Now, let me say flowing, Ipsy flowing, Franca flowing, Blessing. All right, fantastic. I'm happy that at least I have close to 10 people that understand what I'm trying to say. Now, easily, this teacher, you can now see that his initial work experience is still very much necessary, even though she's now trying to transition into a new career path. So she has just optimized the name from, instead of having it on her CV as a teacher, she has optimized it to be a business officer. And because as a teacher, she performs some activities that involve stakeholder analysis, she can clearly now put performed stakeholder analysis as part of her track. Now, let me use the slide that I have on my screen to also explain this. Yeah, but I did say it when I was in Nigeria. Tessie, all right, we are going to definitely get to this. All right, by the time I'm done, we are going to find out the one that suits you clearly. All right. So what I always explain to people is that one thing you need to know is, from what you are doing right now, there's a place for you in the tech industry. And the easiest way to get in is by using your transferable skill to get in. So let's look at this specimen A that I have on my slide. So we have this Mr. Specimen A. Let's call this guy A. Specimen A right here. Now, this specimen A, when he was in Lagos, Nigeria, he served as a business officer between 2016 and 2019. Now, he wanted to get into cybersecurity, okay? And he looked at everything that he did within that space. He was not able to actually find something that related to cybersecurity, right? So he maintained that exact name of business office manager. Now, the next experience that he had, that was in 2019. All right, in 2019, he was working with Kodu Creative. And right there, he performed an activity that related to AWS, Amazon Web Services. All right, Amazon Web Services. And because it relates to cybersecurity, he now had to instantly modify the name to be AWS Security Solutions Architect. And then right underneath it, he now has the things that he did that related to that exact act. Remember, this was in 2019. Then afterwards, in 2023, when he moved to United Kingdom, he was also working as a receptionist. In actual terms, this individual was working as a receptionist, but part of his activities was to monitor the CCTV that the company had. Okay, and he looked at it. There's a way you can also coin the CCTV activity that you performed, and it will look like you've been in the cybersecurity space. Right? And what he simply modified the name to now be is Security Event Monitoring Officer. Okay, and this also is relative to cybersecurity. Okay, and this was in 2023. But in 2024, that was the actual time that this person came to us to be able to take cybersecurity class. So in actual terms, this person started getting the training for a cybersecurity officer in 2024. So clearly, instead of him to now mention, oh, I started from 2024 and this is 2025, which means he barely has 1 year of experience, because he's been able to identify all those initial transferable skills that he had. He can now comfortably be able to say that he has been in the cybersecurity space from here up to this very moment. And that simply means from 2019 till 2025, right? So if you now check it, it simply means that he has been in cybersecurity for a space of 6 years. But remember, this is the very moment that he is getting trained to be a cybersecurity officer, which means he just started last year to train to be a cybersecurity officer. Now, this is to show you how you can easily be able to leverage your initial years of experience and still make it to serve you in your current space right now. I don't know if you get the picture. Did we all get the explanation of what I'm trying to say? Now, where it gets tricky is this. If you do not have this training or this experience right here, for you to be able to substantiate the career path that you want to, have a lot of years of experience in. If you do not have this training here, you will not be able to validate your experience in these places. Remember, you are getting trained at this point, and all those trainings that you're getting here, that is also part of things that is going to help you populate your initial experiences, because, after you've been taught something in the classroom, you can now look backward and say, we're actually doing this when I was just at Kodu Creative, and you can find a way to relate it to cybersecurity. So this exact training is very, very crucial. It doesn't just end at, let me just optimize my CV, get this one, and look at what I used to do, optimize, and now claim to be in that space. If you lack that exact training, you will not have enough weight to substantiate the exact activities that you did in those initial work that you had. I don't know if someone is still following me to this very moment. Are we still here to this very moment? I want to understand what I'm trying to explain right now. Okay, I can see a couple of comments here from Dura, Simi, from Odong. Fantastic. Now, let's look at the other guy that I also have here. This should be a data analyst. Now, this data analyst, the same process as well. This person came to us and started having his own training in 2023. Okay, he started training in 2023. Remember, this is the point where he was getting trained. Now, before those activities, he looked at what he did in Civil Service Commission, he was just an agric officer, right? He was an agric officer in Civil Service Commission back in Nigeria. But he noticed that while also serving as the agric officer, he performed some activities that relate to data analytics. So you can see he's been able to now modify the name and optimize it to be data analyst slash agric officer. Data analyst slash agric officer, and this was in 2019. Same thing for the initial one, which is he was purely an agric officer when he was also with Imo State Civil Service Commission, purely an agric officer. And then prior before then, he had a work experience with YTF, that's Youth for Technology Foundation, where he served as a program manager in 2016. But when he looked back at what he did for them, he realized that he performed some activities that also related to data analytics. So he had to also modify and add data research analyst amongst the tasks that he performed. Now, clearly, when you look at his own work experience, he started from 2016. Now he has 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, which means he can clearly now be able to claim to have 9 years of experience being a data analyst. But remember, this is the exact moment that he is getting trained. That should be in 2023, which in actual sense is just simply a 2 years experience as of today. But because he's been able to look backwards and find out keywords that are related to what he did before, he was now able to optimize what he did. Now, clearly, some people may see this to be, let's say it's cunning, but I always mention to people that packaging is very, very crucial if you're looking to land a job. Packaging is very, very crucial if you are looking to land a job. I'm going to give us an example. Recently, I traveled to Nigeria because we're trying to have some collaboration with some universities. And one of the vice chancellors asked me a very, very important question. He said, "Young man, how many years of experience do you have?" Now, clearly for me, my experience is just close to a decade, roughly 9 to 10 years of experience. But I know how the business terrain in Nigeria actually works. So what I said was, oh, we have close to 50 years of experience. The management team here in analytics have close to 50 years of experience. And what does that actually mean? My founder has close to 20 years, my co-founder has close to 20 years, and myself, I have close to 10 years. Now, collectively as a team, we have close to 50 years of experience. So you can see how I've been able to answer that exact question. And I was not able to, package our company more in a way for us to be able to land the contract that we were looking for. That is that same way that you are expected to be able to understand how do you optimize your initial years of experience and then be able to land what you are looking for. I hope this is very clear to everyone. Now, after you've been able to do all these things, the end goal most time is for me to be able to land a job, right? The end goal is not just for me to have an amazing CV and just have it there. The end goal is just, I want to be able to land a job. And if this is your own intent, you want to land a job, or you want to also improve your own, on the job that you currently have, you want to also improve your earning power, or you want to be able to land a remote job, there is simply a 3-step approach that can give you what you are looking for. All right, after you've been able to identify those transferable skills and you've now been in a particular class, how can you now be able to move from that point into landing a job? Now, the answer is this. Number one is you need to learn. Okay, remember when I talked about packaging, it doesn't end at just packaging yourself. If you package yourself and there is no knowledge inside what you've packaged, you are definitely going to be found out, okay? You're going to be found wanting on a long run. So you need to be able to learn the in-demand course that you have already packaged yourself for, okay? And then, of course, you need to also be able to package yourself extremely well, okay? You need to package yourself extremely well. And then lastly, you need to apply to jobs, okay? I'm going to explain all this in the next coming minutes, okay? Number one is you need to learn. the in-demand job that you already said, oh, I have transferable skills from here, which means you can now claim to have been in this space for like 2 to 3 or 4 years ago. But it doesn't stop at just the claim. You need to be able to validate that skill, validate that knowledge, so that at any point that you are called for, you should be able to defend yourself. So you need to learn the skill and, of course, package yourself, then apply to job. Once you are able to do these 3 things, trust me, the job is going to be there. You can see the person just shouted, oh, I got the job. Okay. But what happens these days is that sometimes we do it backwards. All right. We do it backwards. We are already applying to jobs, but there is no substance in us while we are trying to make all those applications. There is no initial years of experience to validate that you have the skill to be in that space. So we're doing apply, and then we're not trying to package ourselves. And then maybe when the job is trying to come, we now start learning. Once you are doing it backwards, the possibility of you landing something is very, very, very slim. Okay, so the best way, the best approach is always for you to learn and then package yourself and, of course, apply to job. This is the same formula that we have used for a lot of people. You can see my screen clearly. You can see someone like Judith. Judith used to be a HR analyst back in Nigeria, right? And she now worked as a carer while studying in United Kingdom. But she came to us and said, oh, I am tired of this thing I am doing right now. I want to transition to the tech environment and be able to work remotely. Okay, and we were able to identify where her own transferable skills also led her to, and it was clearly in business analysis. Right, so she had transferable skill that led her towards business analysis, and she came to us in March of 2024. She learned business analysis. She was also able to package herself. Her CV was tailored to seem like a business analyst as well. She joined the mentorship sessions that were relevant to her and also got prepped for several interviews. And that is where the packaging comes in. All right. And as that application, she was also able to apply to multiple jobs also. She applied to multiple jobs, both in the UK and, of course, in the US. And this is from the analytic job boards, because we also have a job board where we scrape different job vacancies on the website and provided it for our students to apply to. Now, she was able to land a job in July of 2024. She landed a job working remotely in UK. And that was less than 4 months after completing her own program. You can click here for you to watch what Judith had to say. All right, so for anyone that wants to be able to watch this, please make sure you fill the attendance form that my colleague Elijah is dropping. Right, so once you fill it, by the time we are done with this conversation, we are going to send a slide to everyone that filled it, as well as the recorded version of this conversation. Okay, so this was how Judith was able to transition from being HR in Nigeria to becoming a care worker in UK, and now she moved to business analysis. Okay, we have other people that also made this same transition. All right, but in the course of this discussion, I'm also going to share their own stories with all of us. So first thing, like I mentioned, is for you to learn. So you need to be able to get crystal clear on your target role. Now, the mistake that many of us make is that today we've decided I want to be a data analyst. Tomorrow we're saying it's agile project manager. Next time it's cybersecurity. We are confused. And that confusion is part of what might derail you from achieving that your goal. Okay, so what we've done from our own side is we analyze several job boards that exist out there. Glassdoor, CV Library, Google, Bulletin, Indeed, Monster, and several other ones. After this analysis, what we had in mind was we want to bring out the jobs that had the highest number of vacancy for the previous year. So which of those jobs that they posted in those sites has the highest number of vacancy the previous year? So we identified all of them. And what next did we do? We had to validate that those jobs are going to be relevant in the next coming years. So there is what we call the World Economic Forum report. If you go through the World Economic Forum report, you have a segment called the future of jobs. Now, for the future of jobs, this is a place where world leaders, economic decision makers come together every year to discuss on some certain issues regarding the economy. And part of those places is which jobs are going to be created in the next coming years and which ones are going to be destroyed. Okay, so we have to validate all those jobs using the WEF global view as well. And also we have to check it within the regional analysis for UK, US, and Canada. For instance, with the way United Kingdom is moving right now with all the immigration laws, all of us know that there is fire on the mountain. So I know many of our brothers and sisters always want to move with the health visa. All right, you want to move with the health visa, and before now, health visa can actually be able to get you something substantial. But right now, with the new modifications that they are trying to make, it is below RQF level 6. Okay, and for you to get a sponsorship, you need to be looking at a job that has at least RQF of level 6. For all those health-related jobs, it's now within RQF level 3. So what this means is that those health pathways may be shaky in the next coming years. But these 8 courses that we've been able to identify, we have to also validate that they are all still within what the United Kingdom government is looking out for. Even what we've also realized is that even though they make some changes over time, even though they make some modifications over time, those career paths always come up as part of the occupation list that they are always looking for. Okay, so all of them met those criteria. And also we look at the US environment as well. Though we're looking at for jobs that also had the highest H1B acceptance rates. Okay, which of those jobs that are posted on this career path also have the highest acceptance rates for highest H1B acceptance rates rather. Then for Canada as well, we'll have to look at the provincial nominee programs, and we notice that out of all those jobs that were posted in all these websites, there are 8 major career paths that stood out, and that is where we got the 8 career paths that we offer here at Analytics, and that is business analysis, data analytics, data science, agile product manager, data engineer, cybersecurity, and of course, HR analytics and financial analytics. So I don't know if we are now clear on the major 8 career paths that are in demand that is going to help you transition, leveraging your initial years of experience, and also for you to also be able to break into any of these 3 countries that I've mentioned, UK, US, and of course, Canada. Now, let's dive deeper into the World Economic Forum report so that we can also have a better understanding of what the WEF report actually said. So what the World Economic Forum report mentioned is that by 2030, that's in the next 5 years, 170 million jobs are going to be created. And that represents all these boxes that are painted green. So 170 million new jobs are going to be created. But while this creation is going on, there are also jobs that are going to disappear. And that means 92 million jobs are going to disappear. 92 million jobs are going to disappear. So what you want to do is to make sure that you are not, the job that you are currently doing is not within these 92 million jobs that are going to disappear. At least be on the blue side, which represents jobs that are just going to be stable in the meantime. All right. So after this, we now have to check of all these career paths, which ones are the fastest growing career paths out there? Which ones are the fastest growing career paths? So if you look out for the ones that is fastest growing, you can see that big data specialists represent the #1 fastest growing job as of today. Now, who exactly are the big data specialists? Now, this presents your data engineers, and other data people in the ecosystem, data analysts and data science. Anyone that can be able to analyze, process, and also utilize data falls within that exact bracket. And then if you look at data engineer as a subheading right now, you can see the different places that it's appeared amongst all the career paths that are fast growing. It is #1 here. It is also 2, 3, 4, 5, #6, as well as also around number 13. Now, the next one we also have here is data analysts and data scientists. So you can see that all those 8 career paths that we've identified, according to the World Economic Forum reports for in-demand career paths, they are also amongst the fastest growing jobs. So you can see number 3 is clearly AI and machine learning specialists. And then you can now have these data analysts and data scientists around here around number 9. Okay, so this is to validate to you that it's a career path that is also in demand. Then you can also see cybersecurity guys taking their own spot on the fastest growing job. You can see your security management specialist, you can see your Internet of Things specialist, and of course, you can also see your information security analyst. And this clearly represents the cybersecurity guys. Then also you can see your process automation specialist, which represents business analysis. So all the jobs that we have on this left-hand side represent jobs that are going to grow, while the ones that we have on this right-hand side represent jobs that are going to decline. So if anything you are doing is still on the right-hand side, you want to make sure that you move away from this right-hand side and get into the left-hand side of jobs that are growing. Now, if you take a look at those left-hand side now, it is not all the jobs that are there that we chose to be offering here, right? You can see things like DevOps engineer, all right? You can see things like renewable energy engineers, robotics engineer, blockchain developers. Of course, they are amazing career paths. They are amazing career paths, but we also hinged our own selection on 3 major criteria. And those 3 major criteria includes what I call, number 1 is ease of learning. Right? Number 1 is ease of learning. Number 2 is ease of transitioning. So does the career path have that ease of transitioning and also ease of learning? The number 3 is clearly high rewarding salary. High rewarding salary. So this, all the career paths that we also selected has to meet these 3 major criteria, which is ease of learning, ease of transitioning, and of course, high rewarding salary. Now, if you have a look at all these career paths that I've identified that we don't offer, something like DevOps engineer right now. DevOps engineering is an amazing career path, right? It is an amazing career path, but is it a career path that you coming from teaching background, or you coming from customer experience, or you coming from care, being a support worker, can have transferable skill into? The answer is slim, right? So for that ease of transitioning, it is not existing. For the ease of learning, is there a career path that you also coming from teaching background can easily learn? The answer is no. Is there a career path that will give you high rewarding salary? Yes, of course. But because it didn't meet that ease of learning and ease of transitioning, it is not a career path that we want to get into. Because what we understand is now that also anyone looking to break into the tech industry, everyone wants to do it at the fastest way possible. So we also want career paths that within a space of 3 to 6 months, you should be able to have the skill and then start applying to jobs. Same thing applicable to all the other jobs that are also fast growing, but not amongst what we offer because they didn't meet those criteria of ease of learning, ease of transitioning, and of course, high rewarding salary. Or, okay, let me ask you a question for everyone here. We have robotics engineer right now. Does anyone here think that they have what it takes to transition to robotics engineering within a space of 3 to 6 months? All right, do we think we have what it takes? Let's be honest to ourselves. All right, do we think we have what it takes to transition to robotics engineering within a space of 3 to 6 months? I will leave us to be able to be the judge of that for our individual selves. Okay, Mitchell said no. Fantastic. Thanks for being honest. Now, this is the reason why we don't offer any career path that we've identified that most people are not going to have transferable skill into. Now, if you look at the next page, let's look at this downside. This down part represents jobs that are the fastest declining jobs as of today. All right, the fastest declining job as of today, that is what is represented here. Number 1 fastest declining job as of today is postal service clerks. All right, next one is bank tellers and related clerks. So if you're still a bank teller, you should start looking at optimizing your skills and moving towards the left-hand side. So if you look at this side clearly, notice that the fastest declining job as of today is they are all within the clerk family. So most clerks, their jobs are at risk. And that's because of the advent of so many other roles that should be able to do all those things. All right. So what I'm trying to bring out here is that if what you are doing is still on this left-hand side, on this right-hand side, you need to make sure that you get a skill that is going to move you away from here towards this side and for you to now fully be here. Because the jobs that we have on this left-hand side represent the career paths that are fast growing as at today. Okay, so when you fill the attendance form and get the slide, you can now personally go through every one of them to understand and make sure that your own job is not at risk. All right, so when you fill the attendance form that my colleague Elijah is still dropping in the comment section, by the time we are done with this discussion, you can easily be able to click on any of those links and be able to read up and see what was also mentioned there. And of course, I'm going to get the recorded version of this discussion for you to be able to understand more everything that we said. Jimmy said, I saw mediator and conciliation. I don't know what that means. I saw mediator and conciliation. I'm struggling to understand that. Maybe you saw it amongst the fastest declining job, all right? Or you saw it as among the fastest, the ones that are also in demand. I don't know what your comment means, but let me check to see where mediation guys are. All right, okay, I've seen mediators and conciliators. All right, fantastic. Now, clearly, this is to show you that arbitrators, mediators, and conciliators are all amongst the fastest declining career paths. All right, so what you want to do is to optimize and get skill that is going to make sure that you move towards these fast growing career paths. That's for Jimmy. Okay, I hope we all got this explanation regarding the in-demand career paths, because this is what I want each and every one of us to understand clearly before I go into how exactly do you learn. All right, you've seen the career paths that are fast growing. You've seen the ones that are also fast declining. So which one do you think you can get into? All right, so let's just put it in the comment section so that I can also be able to use it to gauge people that are following me. Which one, serves what you are looking for in those fastest growing career paths? Which one are you looking to get into? I'm still going to explain every one of them, but of all those 8 career paths that I mentioned, which of them are you looking to get into? Right, Caleb mentioned data analyst and data scientist the same, and which is more competitive. Fantastic. I'm going to still explain this in the nearest minutes that is coming, okay? The next few minutes I will explain it clearly. That's from Caleb. Fumilayo Bello. This name sounds familiar. Fumilayo Bello. I think I've spoken to this person. Okay, Agile project management, fantastic. Michelle mentioned business analysis. iPhone mentioned data science. And No Oluwa mentioned data engineering. Opeyemi, human resource and BA. Odong, financial analysis. Cornelius, big data specialist, fantastic. Cornelius wants to be the #1 fastest growing job. Endurance mentioned data and business analysis. Okay, from like I said, we spoke yesterday, fantastic. And of course, we have Beatrice, data analytics. Dara Simi, sorry if I murder your name. I'm not from all these places. All right, Dara Simi mentioned data science, then and so on and so on. You can see a lot of data. Does it mean that we are running from cyber security, we're running from data engineering, and all those other guys? Okay, but I'm still going to explain each and every one of them. All right, I'm going to explain each and every one of them so that if you've not selected a career path, you will be able to understand them and be able to get into the one that you're looking for. I saw digital marketing, but I don't know if it's among fast growing or declining. Joy, definitely, we're going to send this slide to everyone. So you're going to now look through the entire sheet and be able to see the ones that is speaking to you directly. Okay, so moving on quickly. How exactly are you going to be learning? All right, how exactly are you going to be learning? Now, the mistake most people make sometimes is they will bite from here, they will bite from here, and they will bite from here. It is very challenging if your learning journey is like that. So our own approach here, we use 2 blended approach. And number 1 is You have live instructor-led class. So the way I'm speaking to you right now, that is the way you're going to have someone in your classroom teaching you what you need to know. So it is a real-life instructor-led class. And also you have the self-paced learning material aspect, where you have someone make a watch me do it video and also present to you. So you have both of them available for you, both the live instructor-led class and also a watch me do it video to also watch and get deeper understanding. Now, even these real-life instructor-led classes, they are also recorded, right? So the same way this session is being recorded, and after it, we are going to send it to everyone that filled the attendance. That is the same way that the classes are also recorded, and afterwards, it's going to be uploaded to your learning management system, and you have lifetime access to that platform, which means you can comfortably be able to go through it over and over again as much as you want. So this is how you are going to be learning. And many people, I know when I said which career path do you want to get into, some people may not make a decision because they want to know, oh, which one is going to pay me higher? Now, I want to be able to also demystify the payment aspect. If you look at my screen right now, cybersecurity and data engineering may seem to have the highest payment rates with regards to the average. So what we have here is average salary for anyone that gets into any of those sectors, right? And cybersecurity and data engineering seem to have the highest average. Okay, but the mistake you don't want to make is choosing a career path because you feel like this is going to pay you more. Now, clearly, all these 8 career paths, they are going to pay you and reward you highly. Every single one of them is going to pay you and reward you highly. But it is also down to the sector of the economy and the level of experience that you have. So quickly, let me ask you a question. A data analyst is earning so and so here in UK, US, and Canada. A cybersecurity is earning so and so in these places. Now, a quick question. If you are a data analyst and you're working in oil and gas, and I am a cybersecurity person and I'm working in the government space, I'm a government employee, who do you think is going to earn higher? The data analyst in the oil and gas or the cybersecurity guy in under government employment? Who is going to earn higher? Who is going to earn higher? Let me actually see people that are also listening to what we are discussing. Fumilayo mentioned data analyst, fantastic. That is Fumilayo's own response. Luis also said DA, that's data analytics. Caleb, the same thing, fantastic. Now, this is to clearly show you that it is not just down to what the individual average salary also is. It also depends on the sector of the economy you find yourself, and of course, the level of experience that you have also. Tessie said government sector. I hope I just believe, I know you're just being sarcastic right now. You said government sector. All right, but the answer is actually data analyst, because we all know that oil and gas is definitely going to pay you higher than anything the government is going to offer you. All right, that is the truth that exists out there. So when you want to make your decision about a career path, don't hinge it on the money. Every single one of them is going to give you high rewarding salary. Make sure you hinge it on transferable skill. Which one has those transferable skill that you have, so that when you transition, you'll still be able to have a lot of years of experience. Okay, so moving on. Number 2 is packaging. I've talked about learning, how you are going to be learning, and then the courses that is also out there for you to learn. But then, how do you package yourself? Number one thing I always mention to people is that there is need for you to be able to craft a magnetic job-ready profile. All right? You need to be able to craft a profile that is outstanding, that people cannot ignore. Okay? That people cannot ignore. Okay? And what are the things that you need to be able to package yourself with? Number one is, before you even start packaging, remember you need to learn. All right? That is why learning is number 1, packaging is number 2. And before you start packaging, remember that you need to learn. I always tell people that come to my sessions this, take note of this acronym, COC. It simply stands for competence over credentials. Competence over credentials. No matter the credentials you are coming with, if you lack the competence, if you lack the technical know-how, nobody is going to hire you. Even if you pass the initial stage, oh, they've seen your documents, they've called you for interview. In the tech environment, that's what we always call a skill assessment stage, right? And if you've packaged yourself by just having credentials without having learned the skill and being competent on it, you're going to be found out in those skill assessment stage. So before you start packaging, ensure you've learned first, okay? Now, we had someone like Hope before now. Hope joined our project management class, but her own case was different. She was already a certified Scrum Master, right? But she wasn't able to land a job in Canada. So when she joined our own Agile project management class in September of 2024, she was now brushed on the skills. She was brushed on the experiences that she needs. And she was now able to utilize the tools that she needs for her to be able to land a job. And in December 2024, Hope landed a role as a project analyst with Dressman in Ontario, Canada. Right? This is to show you that even though she had this Scrum Master certification, which is, I'm not saying that it is irrelevant. It is, of course, very, very okay. But before you start getting to that point, make sure that you have the competence. And the competence is what we are going to give you. Now, what other ways are you expected to package yourself? Okay, number one way I always mention to people is build a portfolio. All right. So I have a question for all of us here now. You have a car and your car has spoiled, and someone is telling you, let's say this person is person A, is telling you, oh, I'm a Harvard graduate. I'm a Harvard graduate of mechanical engineering. Bring your car, let me repair it for you. Okay, I graduated with first class from Harvard University, mechanical engineering. Bring your car, let me repair it for you. And then there's another person, which is the specimen B, saying, oh, I'm a roadside guy. I'm a roadside mechanic. All right. This is my own workshop. All right. This is my workshop. I've repaired Aston Martin. I've repaired Benz. I've repaired Toyota. I've repaired Volkswagen. Bring your car. Let me repair it for you. Whom are you going to give your car to? The person saying, oh, I'm a Harvard graduate of mechanical engineering with first class, or the person saying, oh, I'm a roadside mechanic. This is my workshop. I've repaired Aston Martin, Benz, Toyota, Volkswagen, and so on and so forth. Whom are you going to give your car to repair? Anuluapo said person B. Bami said person B. And okay, that's just the two people that have responded. Bami said person B. I hope we are all following because the response right now is getting slower. Okay, Darasimi mentioned B. Violet mentioned roadside guy. Caleb B. Abbasek also mentioned B. Now, clearly, this is showing us that this guy experience will always be taken over this, right? No matter how we want to shape it, experience will always be taken over this. Now, this is important. Okay, this is important. Don't get me wrong. It is very, very important also. But when both of them stand side by side, this guy is going to be taken. Now, in the tech environment, for you to also be able to show your own workshop and say, this is what I've prepared before now, for recruiters to see what you've also worked with, you need to have a portfolio. Okay, portfolio is very, very important if you are in the tech space. So quickly, let me show us a portfolio of a past student so that we also see what these portfolios look like. So I'm just going to click on one, and this should be a portfolio of a past data analyst that was in our own program. Yeah, data analyst. Now, if you look at my screen, you're going to see that this person worked with, when consulting with us, she worked on deep care hospital ER visit analysis. She also worked on Redox airline flight analysis. She worked on Express Tech food delivery. She worked on Nestle product analysis. She worked on Zenith Electronics using SQL. Now, these are 5 different projects. Now, in these 5 different projects, if you look closely, you notice one thing. They are all in different sectors of the economy. Deep Care Hospital is in the health sector. Redox Airline is in the aviation sector. Express Tech food delivery is in supply chain. Nestle product is in FMCG, and Zenith Electronics is in technology sector. So 5 different sectors of the economy, which means if you call this data analyst right now, she can speak from these exact 5 sectors of the economy. Now, this is a portfolio. It's a powerful packed portfolio. And when you click on any of them, you can see the exact project that she worked on. If you click on any of them, you see the exact project that she worked on. Now, when you look at it closely, you are going to see every single activity that transpired, okay? Which means for this exact year, after the analysis, we had close to 10,000 patients that visited our ER. And my main target within the year was to reduce the average waiting time. Okay, so let's look at Q1 alone. In Q1 alone, we had around 1,450 patients that visited our clinic, right? And we had average waiting time of 36 minutes. I was able to do this, I was able to do that, and because of it, our average waiting time dropped by a couple of minutes down to 35 minutes. And because of that drop, the number of people that visited our ER increased by close to 100%. All right. And continuously, this was how I was able to reduce the average waiting time, which in return improved the turnover in the hospital as well as the revenue. So when you as a data analyst is speaking like this, talking about a project you've worked on, recruiters are definitely going to know that this person have actually worked in an actual environment. Now, remember, the same way I'm speaking about it in the health sector, you also have several other real-life case studies that you've done in other sectors of the economy. Now, let me ask us a question. Do you think if you go for an interview that they're going to meet this guy here and hire you that graduated with master's degree from University of Hull, right? Do you think they're going to hire you that has master's degree from University of Hull, or do you think they're going to take this Victoria that's showing evidence of project that she worked on? Who do you think they're going to take? You that has a master's degree from University of Hull, or this individual that is showing evidence of job that she done in the past? Blessing said Victoria, fantastic, right? And if we're being honest to ourselves, it is 100% going to be Victoria. If you run a company right now and they're asking, okay, bring yourself or Victoria, I'm sure you're going to choose Victoria. All right, so number one is this packaging is very, very important. So when you join the program, you are going to be working on real life projects and you're going to be taught how do you put all these things in your own CV, in your own portfolio rather, to show evidence of things that you've done. So this is number one package. Then the next one is CV optimization. So what we do is 2 months after you join the program, your CV is going to be worked on. And the reason for that is that we believe that after 2 months, you are already job ready to start applying to jobs. So your CV will be worked on and then provided to you. You are now going to be taught how do you tailor your CV to the job that you are going for. Right? How do you tailor your CV down to the specifics of the job that you are going for? Because one mistake that we make these days is that there is a data analytic vacancy from PwC. The same CV we use to apply to KPMG, the same CV we are using to apply to that exact one. It is totally wrong. So even though it is the same role, data analyst, it's important that you look at the job objective and tailor your CV down to those job objectives. This is what gets you to scale that initial ATS, the applicant tracking system. Okay, so you're going to be taught how to do this and your CV is going to be worked on and then provided for you. Then you're also going to be taught how do you optimize your LinkedIn. I always mention to people that LinkedIn is the easiest, LinkedIn is the fastest, and LinkedIn is the cheapest means of hiring, right? So LinkedIn is the fastest, LinkedIn is the cheapest, and LinkedIn is the easiest means of hiring. So if you're not active on LinkedIn yet, that means you are dropping something, you are dropping the balls already. So you're also going to be taught how do you position yourself on LinkedIn so that people can easily be able to see you. Okay, earlier this year, I was trying to hire a data analyst for a French-speaking data analyst in Ivory Coast. And I don't live in Ivory Coast. What I simply did was we went to LinkedIn, searched for data analysts in Ivory Coast, and they brought out the people that their profile, made sense. We just looked at their profile and down DM'd them, set up a meeting, had an interview, and we hired someone just through LinkedIn. right? So if you are not yet there, then that means you're dropping the ball, right? We're also going to walk you through how to navigate the different job markets that exist out there, as well as interview prep session. You've landed an interview invite. We're also available to prepare you for that interview. For instance, using that same hospital ER visit analysis, using the STAR framework, you've gone for an interview. Using the STAR framework, they've told you, oh, hi, Chukwemeka, think about a time in the past where you've been able to work on a project that involved you to actively interact with every other person. All right, you can start up with, oh, the first one is situation, task, action, and result. And what it simply means is situation is, oh, while I was consulting with analytics, I worked on this project which involved me to analyze the ER visits for this exact hospital. Now, you've talked about the situation, which is while you were consulting with analytics. You've talked about the task, which is the hospital ER visit analysis, and then the actions that you were able to take. You were able to analyze this, you were able to do that, and you now improve this, you now did that, and so on and so forth, which in the end resulted in improving the turnover of people that come to the hospital and also improve the revenue. So when you speak like this during interviews, they are going to know that clearly this person has an experience. So we prepare you for interviews at any point that you've been called for an interview. And when you land a job, most time they also request for reference letters and recommendation letter, because our students, we always advise them to mention that you actually worked or consulted with us. So we're always also available to provide you with the references and recommendation letter at any point that it is needed, and on the job support. Now, our students barely come for this because there's no how you spend so many time with us and you are still going to be coming for on the job support. But in the event that you land a job and you are still struggling, we are also available to provide you with the necessary support that you need. Then weekly mentorship session where mentors come back to the classroom, people that have walked this same path that you're trying to walk, to tell you the challenges that they had so that you will not make that same mistake. And Upwork optimization where you now learn how do you freelance using Upwork, making $50 here, making $100 here, making £80 here, and so on and so forth, until you land the job that you're looking for. So all these are also packages that we provide for you to make you a full-fledged tech person. I don't know if we are still following. Now, for our entire program, it runs for 8 months. So all our program runs for 8 months, where you are going to be learning in the classroom for 6 months with analytics. All right, you're going to be learning with analytics. And then also, when you are done, you have 2 months internship experience with Amdari. So what this means is that you have the unique opportunity to have 2 leading tech companies in your CV, that you consulted with analytics and you also intern with Amdari. Now, these are things that recruiters are looking for. Where have you worked? What have you done before now? And so on and so forth. So by virtue of you passing through the program, you can always be able to talk about all these things. And both companies are also available to provide you with recommendation and reference letters at any point that you need it. Technalytics is fully registered in Canada, while Amdari is also fully registered in the United Kingdom. So if you're also looking for all those specific regional-based experience, they are also there to offer you those unique ability. Then number 3, like I mentioned, is you need to apply like a machine, right? You need to apply like a machine, but with precision. Okay, so what this simply means is that, remember I talked about you tailoring your CV. So it's important for you to make that decision that you are never going to reuse a CV when applying to a job. All right, even if it's the same job title, if it's different companies, there is need for you to tailor it down to the job that you are going for. And then make decisions that you are going to be applying to 10 quality jobs per day. 10 quality jobs per day, as well as tap into our paid hidden job market. So what we do from our own side is that, remember I said that we have different job boards that we look at. So from all these job boards, even the ones that are also paid for, what we do is that on daily basis, we scrape those job boards and now bring the available jobs there for our students to apply to them. All right, we've scraped the job, we're now presenting it to you for you to be able to apply to those jobs. All right, now the responsibility of applying to the job, that is where you now come in. Remember, we've taught you learning, we've helped you to package, we've helped you to scrape job boards, and then for you to now, the only job that you have is for you to now be applying to job. But this is where most people actually drop the ball, okay? Because applying to a job is a job on its own. Our success rate as of today is currently at 89%. All right, 89%. What this simply means is that out of 100 people that come to our program, 89 land jobs and move on to greater things. Now, the 11 that failed to get something, does it mean that we gave them something that is different from what we gave the other 89? The answer is no. But where most people drop the ball is either they continuously keep reusing one CV, or they are not applying with precision, which is 10 quality jobs per day, or they are not also making use of our job market that we provided for them. But once you're able to do all these things, trust me, you are going to be among the success stories that we also have here. So a lot of people have been able to go through this exact path, learn, package themselves, and apply to job. And they were able to land what they were looking for. If you look through my screen, you're going to see a couple of success stories of people that have been able to make this exact journey. If you joined earlier, you have heard when Ikmat was speaking with Nanel and Adeza in one of the YouTube lives that we had last month. So, and also when you get the slide, please feel free to click to watch what these people had to say. All right. If you want to look for them on LinkedIn, ask them how was their own experience. So they can also be able to gauge from your own perception. Right? Ramat also used to be a customer success rep in UK, but she transitioned to business analysis. For Ikmat's story, I love her story so much because she came from a background that she's the only one that I've seen that comes from that background. She said that she is a full-time stay-at-home mom, but she wants to now get a job. After several years of staying at home, she was able to learn. She learned data analytics, she packaged herself, she applied to job. Her own story, why I said it's amazing, is that 1 month after joining our own program, Ikmat landed a job. But she was not able to take it up because she had limited working hours in UK. She was still a student as at then. Okay, so she was not able to take it up. Then when she finished her school and then finished her own program, she struggled to land another job. She spent 2 months after before she was now able to land 2 visa-sponsored jobs. And she now sat down to decide the one that she wants to go for. Okay, and this can also be your own story. And this is just to tell you that it is not easy. I'm not going to say, okay, because you've learned, you've trained, you've packaged, you've applied, that job is going to come immediately. No. The no's are going to come. But it's now that zeal to push through that is going to see you to logical conclusion. We'll have people like Tony. Tony used to be a pharmacist, all right? But at a point, she said, oh, I'm tired of going to the office every single day. I want to transition to tech. She came to us, she did data analytics, and she landed a role as a benefit analyst also with the NHS. We have a lot of success story, all right? We have a lot of success story of people that have been able to make this same journey that you are currently. Someone is asking to have people from Canada. Of course we do. So I think these guys are still UK. Let me check for Canada. Okay, you can see Amaka on my screen right now, right? Amaka was out of job for over 6 months in Canada. She was not able to secure interview before she joined our own. She joined HR analytics program. She completed around December 2024 and got multiple interviews. Now she secured a job as a HR data analyst with SAS Energy in Canada. Now you can also click to watch specifically what she had to say. So each person, make sure you fill the attendance form. So go through the slide, look for the person that their story is applicable to your own. All right, and then try to connect from there, learn from what they had to say, and also make that same move that they made. All right, so for United States also, Pavel also used to be a field service analyst in Tucson, Arizona. And also he had to take our own data analytics program in August of 2024. And after completing it, he's currently working as a healthcare data analyst with community physicians in Tucson, Arizona as well. You can see his LinkedIn, feel free to connect with him and be able to understand how he was able to make this same switch that everyone is looking to make. So there are a lot of success stories. You can see someone that was also able to get a skilled visa sponsorship as well. There are a lot of, this one is also this year. I think, yeah, Mary Mary had no experience in tech and was working shifts also in the UK. She joined our own business analysis program in November 2024 and then got her own sponsorship by March 2025. Secured a job as a business data analyst with NatWest on full visa sponsorship. You can see when she sent us her own email that, oh, your application is under the skilled worker visa route has been successful. Now, this is to show you that all these things are possible. Okay. But first, remember, you need to learn, you need to package yourself, and then you need to apply to jobs. All these are success stories of people that have been able to do this. Hope in Agile Project Management, Oluwadan Data Analytics, Oyefi Kai also from Data Science. We also have Adetayo. Adetayo joined cybersecurity, and within 60 to 70% completion rate, he was also able to land a job. Now, this is to tell you, we don't expect you to wait till the 6 months is over before you start applying to job. No. 2 months after you've joined our cohort, we expect you to instantly start applying to jobs. Some people will land within that 2 months. Some people will land in 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Some people will even land after the training is over. It all depends on how you've now been able to attack the market. Okay? But this is to show you that it is highly possible. We have a lot of people that have been able to walk this path that you're trying to walk. Okay, now I hope we are all still following to this very moment, because I'm about to explain all the career paths so that we can now be able to understand the one that is speaking ideally to us. Okay, so they can now be able to understand the one that is speaking closely to you. I have over 14 years of experience in cybersecurity, but currently in UK, I need a job in the IT UK. Please advise. Okay, I may not be able to advise you clearly because that information may not be sufficient with regards to what you need to do. All right, it may not be sufficient for me to make a decision right now. How are you able to account for more than 1 year experience on the reference offered? Okay, Bami, now this is a conversation that we need to have personally. There are some people that it happens for. There are some people that we find a way to also make all these things happen. All right. Someone got a job. If you joined earlier, remember what I said. You are looking at both your initial years of experience and now applying it to what you are trying to transfer into, so that it's not showing like this is the moment that you're trying to learn this skill. It's showing that from what you've been doing before now, that there's a transferable skill into the tech environment, and now you can clearly be able to say, oh, that you've been in this space for a longer period of time. Okay, so you can be able to speak from there. There are a lot of personalized questions coming in. To be a UI UX designer, which program should one study? Luisa, UI UX is not amongst the programs that we offer. And the reason is simple. For the analysis that I've said that we did, both starting with all the jobs out there, looking at the sponsorship, looking at the web, what economic forum reports, UI UX did not meet our own requirements. And that is why, as of today, we don't offer it as a course. Okay, because we don't want people to study a course and then in the end, it will not be sufficient for what they are looking to land. Okay, all right, now, okay, Gold said Agile Project Management and Scrum Master. Please, may I know 3 important key tools one can get acquainted with Agile Project Management? Okay, that is part of what I'm trying to explain now. Gold, just bring out your pen and paper so they can clearly understand what I want to say now. So, what skills must you have to land this job in 2025? Now, first, I will explain the business analysis. All right. So, if you've not selected a career path, open your ears so they can understand what each and every one of them means. So business analysts are simply people that come into organizations to improve the processes that are currently existing in those companies. Right? They're coming there to make it better. If they met at level 1, they want to improve it to get to level 2. All right. Now, what are the key things that you are expected to learn? Most business analysts before now, they don't need to have Excel, Power BI, and SQL. But recently, we realized that recruiters are now looking for business analysts that have data understanding. And that is why, as a business analyst, you're also going to learn Excel, Power BI, and SQL. These are all data analytical tools. All right, then afterwards, you're now going to learn process mapping, project initiation, and of course, Agile and Scrum for projects. Now, this is a borrowed course from project management. All right, this is a borrowed course from project management. Then lastly, you now get into software development life cycle, requirements fundamentals, illustration method, stakeholder analysis and engagement, of course, ChatGPT for business analysis. This is now your core business analysis track. All right. So if you are someone that you work in a space where you have to improve processes, maybe a customer service person or an IT auditor, or you've worked as a teacher, any capacity that you've worked on that you had to communicate with a lot of people, then business analysis may be for you. All right. Now, as a business analyst, because of some borrowed courses that you are doing, simply means that you can also decide to apply to job that exist in data analysis space, can apply to jobs that exist in project management, as well as apply to jobs that exist in business analysis. So these are all the tools that you are going to be learning. Like I said, you learn Excel, you learn SQL, and also you learn Power BI. Then you learn Lucid Charts and also Draw.io with respect to your process mapping. And of course, for Agile and Scrum for projects, you are learning Jira and Confluence or Trello. All right, so these are tools that are relevant for a business analyst. But remember, business analysts, they are always in conversations with people. So if you're not the kind of person that can communicate effectively, if you're not the kind of person that wants to be out there, if you're just a behind the scene person, then business analysis may not be for you, because clearly all business analysts need to be available physically. They're going to interact with every single stakeholder that exists in that company. So I hope we understand it clearly right now. Now, next one is Agile Project Management. So good, this is where your own aspect comes in. For Agile Project Management, these are people that serve as leaders and coach within a project management team. So if you're also thinking of, oh, I want to get into a tech career path where I'm not writing any line of code, I'm not doing anything technical, then you should be looking at Agile Project Management, because this is simply the no code area in tech, right? We call it the no code area. You're not doing anything coding or technically related. Now, part of the things that you are going to be learning starts with introduction to project management, understanding both the waterfall aspect of project management as well as the agile methodologies. So you're going to understand those methodologies before you now move into the skill and communication aspect of a project manager. They now understand the foundations of Scrum fully, the different Scrum artifacts that exist, your increments, your sprint product backlog, as well as how to perform your advanced Scrum activities like your daily Scrum. All right. Now you will learn how to utilize end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence for your project collaboration, as well as for tracking your project deliverables. Now, sometimes Agile may not be sufficient for you to actually work on a project. It might be something as little as Kanban boards workflow that you may need to be able to utilize in a particular project. So you're also going to be taught Kanban boards, and then you now get into the different metrics and reporting aspects in Agile Project Management. Then remember, you are the leader. So you're also going to learn how to serve as a leader in this exact team, and then get into Nexus Skills Scrum, where you now learn how to manage multiple projects iteratively, okay, side by side, and managing multiple projects. And then lastly, everything that you've learned under APM is going to prepare you for your professional Scrum Master examination. That is your PSM examination. Now, for all these things that I've mentioned, our classes holds only on Saturdays, morning class and evening class. Now, the morning class is by 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, while the evening class is by 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. So if you are in Europe or if you're in Africa, the morning class will be stable for you. But if you're in North America, the people in Canada, US, and so on and so forth, then the evening class will be stable for you. You can only be in one of the classes. Okay, now moving on, we have the data engineers. So let me quickly explain data engineers. I hope we are still following. I hope we are still following. All right, if we've not gotten to the one that you're looking for, just give me the next 15 minutes. I'll definitely get to that point. Now, for data engineers, these are simply people that serve as, if you come into a construction company right now, we have the plumbers that exist there. Now, these plumbers are responsible for making sure that water flows seamlessly within that building. They run the different pipelines that if you open your shower water flows. If you turn on your tap, water flows. If you open your kitchen sink, water flows, because they've run the pipeline and connected it to a source. Now, this is how data engineers, they build the data architecture and pipeline that make sure that data flows seamlessly within the tech community. For instance, today, if you perform any banking activity, whether it is using mobile app or whether it is internet banking or USSD or even social media or physical transaction, no matter the line of activity that you decide to take, it goes down to one particular place, picks your balance and shows it to you. It's not going to tell you, oh, this is your balance for using mobile app. This is your balance for using internet banking. This is your balance for this. No. So the pipeline has been built. Someone connected all those pipelines to make sure that data flows seamlessly. Now, data engineers are very, very heavy on coding. Okay, so if you are someone that you have a knack for coding, you want to be amongst the people that want to be behind the scene and be building all these things and be creating it to life, then you should be looking at data engineering. Now, your key learning areas include, first, you need to understand the introductory aspect of data engineering. And that is where we now talk about data lifecycle management as well as data architecture. Before you get into SQL, structured query language, how do you analyze and build databases? How do you function as a database administrator as well? Then I get into Python programming. Okay, Python programming before you now be able to learn Linux operating system. Now, you're no more utilizing just Windows OS and Mac OS. You're also going a step further to learn how to utilize Linux operating system. Okay, now, you're also going to learn how to build a custom ETL pipeline. Okay, ETL pipeline simply means extraction, transformation, and then loading. So let's assume there's a data that is scattered on Twitter, that's currently X, and you want to extract that data, then transform it in your IDE environment, which can be a Google Colab or Jupyter Notebook, then load to a database. All right, that is simply you performing extraction, transformation, and then loading to a database for data analysts to have access to that data. Then how do you automate this process? That is where Apache Spark and Apache Airflow comes in. All right, that is where Apache Spark and Apache Airflow comes in. So as a data engineer also, you need to understand cloud engineering. So you're going to be learning GCP, Azure, and also AWS. So you have understanding of these three tools also before you now get into version control and version control GitHub, and of course ChatGPT Copilot. All right, so as a data engineer, these guys are very, very heavy on coding. So if you are someone that are looking to get into this aspect, this is what it entails. All right. Now, next one is the data scientist. Next one is the data scientist. Who exactly are the data scientists? I know someone has asked me, what's the difference between data analyst and data science? All right, so I'm going to explain it like this. I'm going to bring up both of them clearly so that I'll explain both of them side by side. Now, for data analysts, all right, I'm explaining data analysts. For data analysts, you come into the business to solve problems for them. All right, you are coming there to make sure you look at their data and profile solutions there. And there are two basic questions that you are going to be answering, and that includes descriptive analytics, and diagnostic analytics. All right, now the data scientist is also answering descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics. Okay, now this simply means that both of them have this exact side of descriptive and diagnostic. And what does these two things mean? It means what happened and why did it happen? What happened and why did it happen? So let me give you an example. Let's say for last fiscal year, Analytics, we posted a revenue of $1 million, hypothetically, before you guys think we have money. All right. Then data analyst is telling us that from the US market, we made 500,000 from US, made 200,000 from UK, made 200,000 from Canada, and then made 100,000 from the rest of the world. Now, this information is not sufficient for the company to make a decision. All right. So the data analyst is expected to look at the other data that the company has churned out to enable them make this. You can look at all their expenses, look at their marketing budget, look at their ad budget, and so many things. Now, let's assume that we've had a look at the marketing budget. And from the marketing budget, we realize that in the US, in the marketing budget, we use 50% alone for the US environment. Then use 20% respectively for UK and Canada, and use 10% for the rest of the world. Now, we are seeing a correlation between revenue and marketing budget. So the advice will now be, if the company is now looking to improve the revenue from the rest of the world, it simply means that they also should be looking at improving the marketing budget for the rest of the world, because you can easily see that they are all related. 50% budget in marketing, there was 500,000 in the US, likewise the others. So if you're looking to improve anyone, we should look at improving the marketing budget. So they've been able to answer, this is what happened, and this is why it happened. Now, this is simply what a data analyst is going to be doing on a day-to-day activities. Tell us what happened and tell us why it happened. And how they are able to solve this problem is by, first of all, understanding problem solving. So data analysts, they're not just coming there to build an amazing dashboard, they're coming there to solve a problem. All right. And that is why the first thing you are learning is, how do you solve problems? Before you get to Excel, how do you now learn different functions, formula, understand the coding, your rows? How do you build a dashboard using Excel? And also, how do you interact with databases to bring out data that is already existing there? That is where SQL comes in. So how do you now be able to build amazing dashboards that people can easily be able to understand it and make it visually impactful? That is where Power BI and Tableau comes in. Then data storytelling is very, very important. For instance, if you join this call and the first thing I'm talking about right now is make sure you join data analyst or data science or data engineer, trust me, you are going to instantly knock out. Okay, but because I've taken us on a journey, starting from the success stories to the people that have been able to do this before, to the World Economic Forum report, to the in-demand career path, and then we landed here. There has been a journey. So you can easily be able to join one or two together. So you as a data analyst, you're also going to be taught, how do you tell a compelling story? Because even though your data may be correct, if you don't know how to tell a compelling story, your stakeholders are not going to believe you. Because trust me, these are guys, they know how to shut down people easily. So you need to know, how do you communicate your data appropriately to the stakeholders for them to understand what you are saying. And then also understand ChatGPT for analytics and Microsoft Fabric for analytics. So this is simply data analytics for you. Now, for data science, remember I said data scientists will also answer this question of descriptive and diagnostic. And where they are making use of all these aspects is from this place downwards. All right, so for data scientists, first thing you're going to be learning is statistics, understanding both all your statistics, your measure of central tendency, your ANOVA principles, and so on and so forth. Then you're now going to forecasting and predictive analytics using Excel. And also you learn Tableau as well as SQL. So all these four things that you're learning first means that you can also be able to function as a data analyst. All right, you can function as a data analyst. Now, this number 5 downwards, that is where the game changes. The next step for a data scientist is now perform what we call predictive analytics. So this is what differentiates a scientist from an analyst, because the scientists also perform predictive analysis. Now, this involves you writing codes. As a data analyst, you can function fully as a data analyst without writing any single code. All right, but for you to function as a data scientist, Python programming now has to start coming in. Okay, how do you build predictive models? How do you perform big data and query analysis? And then you get into machine learning and AI. How do you build models that is going to be able to learn? That is where machine learning comes in, and of course, computer vision. Then GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT for analytics. So if you are looking to get into a career path in data, that you have to write coding languages, and you want to be people that also bring us all those insights, then you should be looking at data science. But if you don't want to get into the coding aspect, you just want to be an analyst and be able to perform on your role, then you should be looking at data analytics. Now, people sometimes will tell you, oh, data scientist is the senior brother of data analyst. No, both of them are different career paths. The same way you have an intern as a data scientist, have analysts, an associate, a team lead, manager, senior manager, and so on and so forth. That is also how a data analyst can also be able to grow from that same one upwards. So it doesn't mean that for you to become a big person, you have to move from data analyst to being a data scientist. No. So they are all different career paths on their own. If you are running from coding, then you should be in data analytics. But if you don't mind learning all those writing, how to write codes, then you should be in data science. I hope that makes sense to everyone right now. Now, next one is financial analyst and HR analyst. So with the way the name sounds, what it simply means is that financial analysts are simply data analysts that streamline themselves to just financial data. Okay, if you look at the first thing that they are learning, they are starting with Power BI, Excel, they're starting with problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and then SQL. These are all data analytical tools. Same thing with the HR guys. They're starting with the same thing, starting with problem solving, then getting into Excel, Power BI, and SQL. These are also data analytical tools. Then for the financial analyst, they now get into accounting fundamentals, understanding their three statements of accounting model, your income statement, your balance sheet, and of course, your cash flow. Before you get into financial analysis and of course, financial modeling. How do you build financial model for a company to tell them what's going to happen to their financials in the next 2-3 years? Then valuation and sensitivity and scenario analysis. So this is clearly where the financial analysis comes in. So clearly, a financial analyst can work as a financial analyst and can also work as a data analyst because remember, they've learned problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and also SQL. Same thing with HR guys. HR analysts have also learned problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL, but then they are now streamlining themselves towards the HR department, starting with HR analysis and performance evaluation. How do you build your appraisal metrics? Okay, how do you build the life cycle that exists in your company to know when do I perform stay interviews instead of exit interviews? How do you build your dashboard to be able to present your case to the management? So all these things are now what you are going to be interfacing as a HR analyst. And also HR analysts clearly can also work as a data analyst. And of course, they can also work as HR analysts. I hope I'm making sense right now to a lot of people. I hope I'm making sense because I'm now in the last career path and I hope by now you've seen where you want to be in. I hope by now you've seen the career path that you want to be in. Then lastly, cybersecurity. Now, these guys are their own model is somehow different. So why I say it's somehow different is because inside cybersecurity, a lot of domain exists there. You have your blue team, which is defense minded. You have your red team, which is attack minded. Okay, we also have purple team, which interfaces with both of them. So the model that we adopt here in analytics is a way that you have understanding of all these things. You know, the way that medical doctors will go to school and they'll have general medicine before people can now move into specialization. That is the same way that we try to give everyone general understanding of cybersecurity. Then you now move into specialization. So first thing you are learning is understanding the different roles and technologies that exist here. The next one is to understand the fundamental of cybersecurity. So everything you are learning in cybersecurity is based on these three triads, which we call the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and of course, availability of data. They now get technical. Next one is network security and threats and vulnerabilities. So how do you perform your network security? How do you also protect us, analyze threats and also vulnerabilities? Okay, so here you're now learning tools. For instance, you're learning how to utilize Cisco packet tracer and also learning how to utilize Wireshark for your network security. So this one is network security, and of course, also defense-minded. Because you are going to be learning how do you utilize Nmap and Nexus for your vulnerability and threat assessment. Okay. Then for everything from number 4 downwards now, you are seeing log analysis, you are seeing threat detection and response, and of course, incident response and threat intelligence analysis. So this prepares you for SOC analyst roles. So this prepares you to work as a SOC analyst. Right, then from number 7 downwards, you are seeing open source intelligence. Then from open source intelligence to malware analysis, and then introduction to pen testing and vulnerability scan and exploitation. This now prepares you for penetration testing. Okay, prepares you for penetration testing. And then from everything downwards, from number 12 downwards, governance and compliance, security awareness, policy development, it's now what we call GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. So you can see the several domains that exist here. You have your network security aspect, you have your defensive aspect, you have your SOC analyst role, you have your pen testing, and of course, you have your GRC role. Now, when you are done being trained on all these things, your own internship, which is 2 months, that is now where you decide how you want to, which place you want to specialize in. So if you said you want to specialize in GRC, then your internship is now going to be based on GRC. If you say you want to specialize in SOC analysis, then your internship is now going to be based on SOC analysis. Same thing for others, right? But in the classroom, you are going to be learning all these things. And for all our programs, they are all from basic level to advanced level. So it doesn't mean that you need to know anything here before you come in, no. But so far as you have those transferable skills to those spaces, you are good to go, right? Once you come, every single one of those classes, you'll be taught from the basic level and gradually go upwards. Okay, remember, the classes holds only on Saturdays. You have the one for 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, suitable for people in Africa and Europe, and the one for the 6 p.m. West African time, suitable for people in North America. Okay, now this Saturday you're having a live class. Next Saturday you're having a self-paced class where you can now be able to watch all those videos. Okay, remember, it is an 8-month program where you learn 6 months in the classroom and then 2 months internship experience. So how can you get started today? So of all these things that I've been saying, how can you easily get started to enjoy all these amazing benefits? I can see someone saying, oh, I should explain some of those courses. We've been speaking for close to 2 hours now, and I'm sure some people want to run away as fast as possible. So make sure that you fill the attendance form that my colleague Elijah is dropping in the group chat, in the comment section rather. Once you fill that form, you are going to get this slide and also get the recorded version of this discussion. So on your own, can now go ahead to rewatch it as much as you want. Okay, so please make sure you fill the attendance form so that I can get the slide and also get the recorded version of this discussion. So how can you get started today? Our next cohort is starting on July 5th. Okay, next cohort is starting on July 5th. So we start a new cohort every first Saturday of the month, which means one of those classes actually started today. Okay, one of those classes actually started today. Next one is starting on July 5th. And for you to have access to it, all our program goes for $900 US, but it's currently discounted to $750 US, but for the first 20 people to indicate interest of joining. All right, and of course, you have the option to decide that you want to break down your payments into 5 installments. All right, so you don't have to pay once. All right, you can say that you want to pay it over 5 months, which means you are paying $150 every month. All right, and how exactly can you be able to secure this your spot? Because remember, it is just for the first 20, and once the first 20 fills up, the price goes back to the normal $900. So what you have to do is simply click on the link that my colleague is also going to drop in the comment section, all right, for you to get access to the main start page. Once you get here, scroll down and look for the program that you want to go for. All right, so if you want to go, let's assume you want to go for Agile Project Management. You can see it here, business analysis, see it here, cybersecurity, every single one of them. anyone you want to go for it. So let me click for data analytics. So once you click on data analytics, it's going to bring you here showing, oh, you've selected data analytics. Now, this is where you can now select how you want to structure your payments, right? This is where you select how you want to structure your payments. You can see that you have the option to pay one off, you have the option to pay in 2 installments, and of course, you have the option to pay in 3 installments, 4 installments, or 5 installments. So anyone that works for you, just click on it, right? But before I go ahead, I want to also explain that for people that decide to pay 1 time or in 2 times, there's also an extra knockoff, which is extra $50 is removed for them, all right? For you to be able to enjoy it, because I mean, we all understand the principles of net present value of money. $1,000 in my pocket today is not the same thing as $1,000 paid over a period of 10 months. So that is why people that decide to pay one off or in 2 installments, they also get extra benefits. All right, but if you want to pay in 5 installments, all you have to do is just click on the 5 multi-payments plan, then click on secure your seat. So it's showing you that the first payment is due today. Next one is due by July 7th. Next one is due by August 7th. Next one by September 7th, and then next one by October 7th. All right, so to secure your spot for the discount, all you have to do is can secure your spot using the 5-month installmental plan. All right, and then click on proceed. And then once you click on proceed, just put in your name, email address, and of course, phone number, and pay for the product. Once you are done paying for it, you're going to have a pop-up for you to fill in your details and then also provide the evidence of payment. And then someone from our team is going to definitely reach out to you. So this is how easy it is for you to secure your spot. Remember, the discount is just for the first 20 people to secure their spot. All right, the discount is just simply for the first 20 people to secure their spot. And once that first 20 seats are taken, the price goes back to 900, which means when you come back here again, you're not going to see 700 anymore. You're going to be seeing 900. So I always advise people to secure their option immediately after sessions like this, because the 20 seats can get exhausted today, it can get exhausted tomorrow, it can get exhausted next tomorrow. But once that 20 seats are fully taken, the price automatically reverses back to the full amount. So this is how you can easily get started today and join our program. Of course, for the first people that also get this access, they have extra benefits. So for Amdari, we have what we call the Amdari Vault, where we have lots of projects that people can be able to work with. And this is how you can also be able to build up your own portfolio and be able to show evidence of what you've done. So for the people that are able to secure their spots in the next 24 hours as well, they have the option to have access to Amdari Vault also, which will give them access to all these projects for extra 1 month. All right, they'll have access to Amdari Vault for extra 1 month. So what are you still waiting for? I always tell people that the best time to get into tech is yesterday. The next best time is today, because by tomorrow, it definitely might be too late. And with regards to what we're talking about right now, once the first 20 spots are taken, the price will go back to the full amount. So at this point, I don't know if there are questions from anyone. All right, feel free to use the raise hand icon and I will call you up to speak, or drop it in the comment section and I am going to pick it up from there. Okay, you can use the raise hand icon and I'll call you up to speak, or you can drop it in the comment section and I'll pick it up from there. I can see I know Oluwapo, you're asking, can a beginner learn data engineering? Do you have any success story from the past data engineering student? Of course, I know Oluwapo. We have a couple of people that will also be able to transition through data engineering. Okay, and yes, one of the best data engineers I know, he used to be a pharmacist. All right, he used to be a pharmacist, but right now he is a data engineer, and he was able to actually do it. So it's all about, you've made the decision that this is where you want to be in. All right, you've made the decision that this is where you want to be in, and now put in the effort to learn the skills that you needed there. All right, so for data engineering, you can see people like Michael. Michael landed his own role, first role, as a sales engineer in a software company in the UK after completing his own data engineering program. All right, and there are also others. So I just simply searched with data engineering, and you can see other people. Idris also got a full-time job with Java Land Rover in UK as a data engineer. after transitioning with us. So there are a lot of people that have actually been able to make this transition. There are a lot of success stories here. So that's why I would advise people to make sure you fill the attendance form, get the slide, go through it, and be able to see every single one of them. I hope that answers your question, Arnold Luapo. Okay, there's another question for me. For data analysis, I don't have any knowledge on it at all. Can I cope one for Beatrice? Of course, Beatrice, 100% you can. So all our programs are always from beginner stage. So it's from ground zero. If you have the knowledge already, there's no need for you to come to us. So we are here to teach you from the basic level. So even if you have an already existing knowledge, we are still going to teach you, all right? Because we're not going to say that because you already know, we're not going to teach, no. So we're still going to teach everyone from ground zero upwards, all right? Who are going to teach you from ground zero upward? It's showing 220, not 150 card. Okay, Ofo Nime. All right, Ofo Nime, remember I said 150 USD, all right? 150 USD. Now, the site is geotagged. The site is geotagged, which means if you are joining from Canada, you're going to see the pricing in Canadian dollar. Okay, if you are joining from UK, you're going to see the pricing in pounds. If you are joining from US, you're going to see the price in USD. If you're joining from Germany, you're going to see the pricing in euros. If you're joining from Nigeria, in Naira, from Ghana, in cedis, and so on and so forth. So no matter the country that you are joining from, you are going to see the currency in your own local equivalents. So that is why you are seeing 220 because you are in Canada. So you are seeing 220 instead of 150 card. Hope that makes sense to you. Of for Neiman. Okay, sir, please explain how a work day of a data analyst is like. That's from Divine. All right, Divine, it is actually relative. All right, it is relative. Different companies, different strokes. But actually, what a data analyst is always working on, for instance, he might be responsible for making sure that every morning when you come to work, you are analyzing the data sets, you are providing insights for them. I'm going to use our own data analyst as an example for you. So our own data analyst, his own responsibility is, because we have classes that is going on every single weekend. So we collect feedback, he analyzes this feedback, and he provides the feedback to us. He collects the feedback from marketing to and provides the feedback to us, telling us, okay, this is what happened in cybersecurity class. This is some issues that we are noticing, that this is what happened, this is why it happened, and then we're now looking to profile solutions to it. So I'm explaining it to you from our own aspect. So different companies have different applications for a data analyst, but the tools that you are going to be using is entirely the same. Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau. Right now, the applicability is not depending on the sector of the company that they are in. I hope that makes sense. You have a friend that works with one of the energy generating companies, and what he does every day is when it comes to work, his responsibility is to analyze what load passed through this exact aspect today. What power were we able to generate for the North region? How many did we generate for the South region? Is there any lag in energy generation? And so many things like that. All these things is not mathematics, so don't get scared. It is purely about critical thinking. Don't start forgetting that is it mathematics or not. No, it's about critical thinking. I hope that answers your question, Divine. Lovette is asking, is it possible to move to another program if you can't cope with anyone? Lovette, it is yes and no. Now, if you join any program, we'll have a transfer window of 2 weeks. For it now say, okay, I want to move away from data analytics to go to data science, or I want to move from this one to that one. But after that 2 weeks, that transfer is now going to cost you. Now, the reason for that is that before now, we've had instances where someone will start with data analytics. They've learned Excel, they've learned Power BI, next thing they're coming to us, oh, I don't think data analytics is for me. I want to go to data science. And they're moving to data science. They are learning the other tools that are there as well. Now, you agree with me that this is cheating us as a business. So that is why we now said you have 2 weeks transfer window to say, oh, I don't think this place is meant for me. I want to switch to this one. It's entirely free within that 2 weeks. But after that 2 weeks, if you're now deciding to switch, it's going to now cost you a switching fee so that in case you are trying to game the system, it is fully at your own expense at that moment. I hope that answered the question, Lovette. But Lovette, what we do to make sure that people get to the best career path for them is that in the group chat that we are all joining through, we are going to see a message that will drop there asking us to book a one-on-one consultation. So right there, our team They are going to look through your own background and help you find the career path that is suitable for you in particular, lovers. Okay, they're going to look at your background, ask you a couple of questions, and help you choose the career path that is relevant for you. But what I always advise people to do is that you can secure your spot right now in any of the program that you think is meant for you. And then when you're registering, just put, I need to speak to an expert. That is simply going to tell us that you've not selected an exact course. All right. And then we are going to have that conversation and choose the career path for you. And even in the event that you've already selected a career path, if we have the conversation and we'll find out that, oh, we think business analysis is more stable for lovebirds than data engineering, we are going to have conversation with you. If you agree with us, we are now going to switch it from the back end for you. Okay, but make sure that you secure your spots so that you're not waiting for this discussion that is going to happen by Monday. And by Monday, the discounted option may not be existing by then. I hope that answers your question, lovebirds. First time I heard of Amdari Vault for the portfolio, can you expand on that, Fitz? Okay, so Fitz, Amdari Vault is a vault that contains several real-life projects because Amdari plays in the consultancy space. So what it simply means is that people that get to secure that spot as early as possible will have access to that vault. Now, you are going to have access to this by the third or fourth month. Remember, you have 6 months classroom learning and then 2 months internship experience. So what it simply means is that 6 months classroom learning, by your ending of that classroom learning, you have access to that vault even before you move to Amdari. I don't know if that makes sense to you now. So you're getting access to the vault for you to now start working on multiple projects to also boost your own portfolio even before moving to Amdari. But this is not entirely for everyone. If you can see my slide, it's clearly said for people that register within the next 24 hours. So once the next 24 hours is over and you didn't secure a spot, then it is entirely off the table because Amdari, our agreement with them is, okay, 2 months internship. So this one that is extra, just an extra incentive that is also costing us from our own side. And that is why we know it's not everybody that's going to get it. It's an incentive for the first people that get to secure their spots. I hope that answers your question, Fitz. Okay, Babajide, does BA and FA involve coding? No. So FA do not involve coding, BA does not involve coding at all. Okay, BA are simply business analysts that make sure that processes are improved and optimized, and also make sure that information flows seamlessly amongst all the stakeholders. Financial analysts are simply data analysts that have specialized in financial aspects of data. Hope that answers your question, Babajide. Do you accept students on a grant for a traineeship from Juliet? Do you accept students on a grant for a traineeship? Of course, if the grant is going to pay us the relevant amount that is due for you, of course, we are going to accept you. All right, that is fully acceptable. But we do not have any one that's entirely for free at the moment. So if that's what your question is entailed, we are now training you, and it's just for training's sake. It is not what we are offering at the moment. I hope that answers your question, Juliet. I'm interested for the data science course, but there is no Power BI on the first set of skills you explained. And for now, in North America, Power BI is the middle of the legend too. What can I do? Fantastic question of Fonime. Fantastic question. Now let me go to that data science again. You have an eye for detail, and I love that. I love that. So for data scientists now, clearly, remember data scientists are responsible for 3 major things: descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, and then predictive analytics. Now, when it comes to Tableau, Tableau has an embedded segment that is great for trend analysis. And for you to be able to make predictions, you need that trend analysis. All right, you need that trend analysis clearly for yourself. And that is why data science, their main focus is on understanding Tableau. And also, every single thing Power BI can give you, Tableau can also give it to you. All right, every single thing Power BI will give you, Tableau can also give it to you. Now, the difference is this. If you know how to use Power BI, trust me, you can use Tableau. If you know the DAX formulas are the same, if you know how to use Tableau, you can use Power BI. The DAX formulas are the same. The issues now is just that you need to find out where they place their own tools. It's just like today we're having this call using Zoom. Tomorrow we can be having this call using Google Meet. They are all different core platforms, but it is all the same modus of operation that they have. The only thing you now have to understand is, where is Google Meet putting their own raise hand button? Where is their own microphone? Where is their own video for you to know how to utilize it? But in the entire use case, it is the same. The reason why Power BI is not in for data science is that if Power BI is here also right now, it simply means that data analytics is null and void. Because it simply means that everything that these guys are doing is now inside this place. All right. So we always advise people to look for the one that you want to go for and then be able to go for it. Data analytics is different. Data science is different. If you are looking to get both skills, then it's not something that you have to now give yourself time for you to get to those points. If you're looking to start with data analytics because you need to have Power BI understanding, then you might decide that you need to start with data analytics. Then after you build yourself up and you've landed a job, there's now need for you to learn data science because you need to know Python, know these other ones, machine learning, computer vision, then you can decide to do data science. The major mistake people make most time is trying to, I want to do, for instance, I want to do data science, but I love this cloud engineering that exists here. Is there any way we can bring this cloud engineering down to data science so that it can also be here? That is where people always make mistakes. Because when you bite from here, bite from here, bite from here, confusion totally comes in. Confusion totally comes in. So we always advise people push from one track, learn everything that is in that track. If there's something else that is in a different track that you want to, it is a distraction at that point. When you've completed one, you cannot decide you want to get the other one also. When I started my own career, because I started from, I was working in a bank, IT audit, compliance. So it was easier for me to transition from cybersecurity, right? So I started from GRC. And then from there, because I'm now looking, okay, tech is something that I find interesting. I want to be among the movers and shakers. And I started getting into data analytics, started getting into business analysis, started getting into financial, and several other roles. But first, I started from somewhere, got that skill, and became someone from that exact place. I hope that makes sense to you, or funny man. The voting was not discussed during previous meetings, Bami. Fantastic, Bami. Bami, previous, for instance, our course program as of January is not the same thing as our course program today. So consistently, we are improving our offerings. Consistently, we are improving our offering. It's just like someone that joined our program last year coming to us to say, oh, but last year people did not teach me this, but this year teaching people this. There is a difference there. For instance, we've considered when DeepSeek were trying to challenge ChatGPT, we're not looking at, okay, should we integrate DeepSeek or should we continue with ChatGPT? At a moment, those were still our consideration. But if a great chat box comes up that challenges ChatGPT, we're going to remove ChatGPT entirely and start teaching DeepSeek. Now, it doesn't mean that the ones that we thought ChatGPT will come back and say, oh, why are you teaching the new people DeepSeek? It did not teach me DeepSeek my own time. Because most time, the pricing sometimes differs. All right, the pricing sometimes. So what we always do is that consistently, we are improving on our own offerings. Even when you are fully a trained data analyst, if you are a data analyst today, consistently on your own, you're not going to just go and sleep. You are continuously going to be improving on what you've also learned. I hope that makes sense to you. With the Amdari bot, which was not mentioned last week, how do we get it if we were ready last week but started in July? Loisa, the option is not for you. I don't know if people are not. I don't know if you're not understanding. For instance, you registered last week and the option was not existing there. People that joined our program last year, our training was for 3 months. Okay, from February we changed our training to become 8 months. So consistently, there's going to be new additions. All right, consistently there's going to be new additions, but of course we're going to find a way to make it work for you, Loisa. All right, if you've already secured your spot last month, and looking to start in July, we are going to find a way to make it worth your while. All right, I hope that makes sense for you because it's something that we're introducing newly. So even when you get into the classroom and getting time for you to get into Amdari, you will also be able to work on several projects. But note that consistently we are improving our offerings. All right, so if I joined before and I'm joining again, it's going to be a different thing. But for you, for people that have registered already, we'll find a way to also make it worth your while, Loisa. Okay, I think I've been able to answer all the questions dropped in the comment section That's been a long one. Okay, Mitchell, your hand is raised. I've asked you to unmute yourself and speak. Please go ahead and speak, Mitchell. Mitchell, I've asked you to unmute your mic. I'm asking you again to unmute your mic. Please go ahead and speak.
All right. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Thank you. And I am happy with the explanation you gave, and I would want to onboard, but I have a few concerns with the business analyst. All the programs that you outlined, are they going to be taught in the classroom, or some would be taught in the classroom and others would, be left with the students to figure it out? Secondly, I have signed up for CV revamp and LinkedIn optimization and all that. When I had the interview or the discussion with whoever it was, I outlined that I needed help with other skills in tech, and she never mentioned that you had these programs. But what she said was if I could get on board and then get the CV revamped and everything. Now, after listening to you, I just feel that I may have to get these skills before I even send my CV out there with all the revamping and everything. I'm a bit confused. Which one should I do first? Because I'm quite new in the UK and I'm getting used to everything that's going on.
All right, don't mute your mic yet because we're going to have a conversation, okay? Are you already registered with any of our programs?
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. So for all the things that I've listed here, from number 1 to number 6, they are all going to be taught in the classroom, every single one of them. All right. So they are going to be taught. And then for applications that I've also sent out right now, the way it works is this. We even advise our students, make sure you instantly apply to jobs once you join us. All right. But if you are putting any skill there, it's important that you know how to utilize it. All right. It's important that you know how to utilize it, because the challenge we have sometimes is that, let's assume that you join us today and then you now start being on our head. Oh, I need CV, I need LinkedIn, I need this, I need all of them today. No, that doesn't work that way. Right. So we have those things mapped out that, for instance, 2 months after you've joined, we are going to personally work on your CV and give it back to you. Because as at that 2 months, for instance, using business analysis as an example, we believe that you should have done Excel, Power BI, SQL, and of course, process mapping, which means you have a substantial skill already for you to start applying to jobs. Okay, and that's why we always wait till after 2 months to work on your CV. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So first is all these skills here, they are all going to be taught in the classroom. All these key learning areas will be taught in the classroom. And then if you have anything in your CV that you can't defend, I always advise people to start making research about it, even if you don't know it extensively. Start adding a little bit of knowledge to it, so that if you get called back from that interview, you can at least say 1 or 2 things from it. All right. But once you join, we're going to teach you all this thing, and then the second month after you join, your CV is going to be worked on, and then LinkedIn optimization will follow, and several other ones that is also attached there. So clearly, it's available to all our students, but it starts from the second month. I don't know if that makes sense now, Mitchell.
It does make sense, but so what happens to the service I have already paid for? That is the CV review, the LinkedIn optimization and everything. I have paid for that service one. I would want to hop on the business analyst training, and I am going to get that same service in 2 months.
Okay, no, I'm confused. Mitchell. You said you
Okay.
paid for CV review and LinkedIn optimization. That's where I got confused. Which
Okay.
company did you pay to?
I may have to look at it, but I
Or
picked
is it Talent
you know
Loop?
the advert you put on Facebook?
Yeah, is it Talent Loop?
Yes.
All right. Okay, I think I understand you now. Okay, so Talent Loop is an entire different business where Talent Loop is meant for people that already have the skill, and the service that they require is just they want their CV to be worked on and they want jobs to be applied for them, and that's simply. So inside Talent Loop, no teaching around this analysis, these skill learning areas is not done there. All right. So if you've already made payments with Talent Loop, of course, they're instantly going to jump on it with you to apply to jobs for you, work on your CV and LinkedIn optimization, and of course, prepare you for interviews. But note that Talent Loop is not going to come and be teaching you process mapping, pre-solicitation planning, requirements fundamentals, elicitation method, and several others. I don't know if you understand it clearly now. So for
Yes,
that
I
exact aspect, is for people that already have the skill, they have the experience, and their only challenge is just that they want someone to assist them with CV optimization, and LinkedIn optimization, as well as help them with applying to jobs. That's where that segment falls in. I don't know if that makes sense to you now, Mitchell.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So it's an entirely different package, business on its own. I didn't mention anything about Talent Loop because they are entirely different company on its own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you are looking to get the skills, then you may want to register with 10 Analytics, and then we're not going to train you from scratch on all these things. While Talent Leap is also preparing you on the other side. So both of them can run concurrently. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does make sense.
All right. Thank you so much. I think
Thank you.
the next hand I have raised is Ogenewaya. Oh, I'm sorry if I murdered your name. I'm so sorry. Please go ahead and speak, Ogene.
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Just because of the I registered last week. Yeah, but I'm joining the July cohorts because I just don't want to choke myself up with things I have. I'm a student in the UK and I'm trying to round up my dissertation right now, so it's kind of like choked for me. So I shifted to July. So I want to get a clarification. Are you saying those people that registered last week, but they are starting in July, they will not have access to the what's this company?
Amdari Vault.
Amdari board. Is that what you're saying?
All right. I think people are about to eat me today. All right. So again, definitely, because the new improvements we are doing, you guys are also going to have access to it. All right. But we're talking about the people that are just fresh right now, hearing about this. It's just people that are able to secure their own spot in the next 24 hours that should be able to have access to. But for people that have already secured, definitely you are going to have access to it. Okay.
Okay. All right. That's fine. But okay. Don't worry. The rest of it, I think someone got to me. He said I should send a mail, so I think that should be behind. Not yet.
All right.
But it doesn't mean that because I've not gotten anything like a account set up, whatever dashboard. Is it towards July that I'll get this or?
Yes, towards July. So what happens is after you've already registered, by 2 weeks before the program or a week before the program starts, you are now going to be onboarded on the platform for you to start your own journey. All right.
Okay.
You registered and said you want to start by July. Had it been you said you want to start in June, you would have been onboarded by now and started by today. But for the people in July, it's now 2 weeks towards the start of the classes and I'm going to be onboarded as well.
Okay. Can you just use this moment to talk on like the kind of system that will be compatible? Because I just want to be sure if what I have will be kind of like, because it's something that's, well, I don't know. I just said
I understand you clearly. So to be on the safer side, to be on the safest side, MacBook can work, Windows can work. But I always advise people to go for Windows system. The reason is this: MacBook operates a closed system that, for instance, if you are learning Power BI, you cannot install Power BI on MacBook. You can only do it through a third-party app called Parallax, and it will require you to make payments. All right, it will require you to make payments in regards to that. But if you're using a Windows system, it's entirely free and it flows seamlessly. So Windows PC, at least 8 gig RAM and then 500 external memory. Okay, at least 8 gig RAM and then 500 external memory. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, the processing generation doesn't really matter.
There's no height to be 8 gigagram and the processing generation will be very low. I
You
don't
say
know if
what?
there's no height to be 8 gigagram and the processing generation will be low. So far as
Yeah.
it's 8 gigagram, it's definitely going to be from the one that should be acceptable.
Yeah, is that right? At
All
least from 8th generation upwards and the
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, definitely.
That's
Okay,
right.
I'm having a lot of hands raised right now.
Thank you.
Oh, we are already beyond. But let me take Darasimi. Darasimi, please go ahead. I've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead. Hi, Darasimi.
Good, I don't know, maybe good morning or good evening, any part of
Good
the
afternoon.
world.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm speaking from Canada, and
Please go ahead.
my question. Thank God that this came in at the right moment because I've been looking for where I'm going to learn some of these things. Like basically, I was thinking of where to learn for Excel. So I'm a nurse here in Canada and back in Nigeria. So when I moved to Canada, um. I started working. I want to transition to tech. So I didn't know what to do. But along the line, because I have back home in Nigeria, I was doing research. But most of those research is that we have a statistician that does most of the work. The only thing is that I can interpret whatever he does. And if there's any correction, I can correct. So where am I going? For getting to Canada, I did another master's in health informatics. I'm still presently there now doing internship. I'm about to start my internship. Some of my mates have started. So my question is, we are using R. They started off with R, and we were being so someone told me that R is part of Python. And I'm a little bit confused on where to like put myself in the sense that um I wanted to learn Excel. I want to know Power BI because they use it mostly. I'm 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 looking towards going to health informatics. And what else again did you put there? Like SQL. Those some of these things were being taught. So I was like, but you mentioned that Power BI will not be part of data scientists, part of the things that they will learn. And like you said, there are some predictive analysis and all this thing that we are also being taught. So my first question is number one, like that Excel. You wrote Microsoft. Okay, using Microsoft Excel. So my question is that are you going to teach us R in Python, or if someone knows Python, you don't actually need R, you'll be able to understand R. That's number one. Secondly, what kind of support will you give to someone like if we start working right now and maybe you are giving an engagement at work, me giving a work to do, and maybe you need just an assistant or support for by going for your program. Is there a kind of support like a shoulder to lean on that you give? I know you mentioned, but I just want clarification about that. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Don't meet yourself, Simi. Don't meet yourself, okay? So when it comes to programming languages, there are a lot of them out there. Okay, you agree with me, there are a lot of them out there. For instance, both R and Python, they are all programming languages, okay? But the difference is now this. R has limitation. R is more efficient for statistical analysis and also for visualizations. That's where R is efficient. But if you are looking to also engage into deep learning and machine learning, then Python becomes more influential. All right. So anything that R can give you, Python will be able to give it to you. But what Python can give you is not all of it that R can give you. So that's why you're not seeing R here. And then we'll look at programming languages, there are a lot of them. So it doesn't mean that we have to now start engaging in every single one of them. Every new thing is coming, there are things that are coming out newly every single now and then. So even for visualization, for example, now, you have your Power BI, you have Tableau, you have there's another one I saw recently. We have Google Studio, not Lucas Studio also. So there are a lot of visualization tools out there. And the truth is that there are some companies you go to because we're trying to do an engagement with a big organization in Nigeria. They don't use Python. They don't use Tableau. They don't use Power BI. What they're making use of is Lucas Studio. All right. And that is not what I've seen rampant actually, but for them, what they're using is Lucas Studio. So different companies actually have different visual tools that they are using sometimes. But what I always tell people when it comes to visualization is that if you can use Power BI, trust me, you can use Tableau and you can make use of Looker Studio. The only thing you have to do is just bring out a space of time, understand this is where their own tools are placed. Once you understand their own tools arrangements, you can easily be able to use it. It's just like the same way I explained, you can make call on Google Meet, you can make call on Zoom, you can make call on Meet. They are all meeting tools, Microsoft Teams, right? But they have different places that they place their own icon. But once you understand one, the only thing you have to do in the other is just come into the other one, look around, find all where their own icons are, and they start me flying. All right. So clearly, with regards to R and Python, Python clearly is better than R with regards to the possibilities that Python is going to give you. Because Python is now what is going to lead you towards machine learning. If you're just learning R is not going to direct you towards machine learning. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah,
Simi.
it does. It does. It does. So,
Yeah.
what about the second question of support?
Okay, so regarding support, yeah, I was coming to that. So for everyone that joins our program, they get all these packages that I mentioned earlier. So if you look at the number, this one that I just echoed right now, you are going to see on-the-job support. Now, we provide on-the-job support for our students also. You've landed a job and you're still struggling, we provide on-the-job support for you. But the difference is this now. Let's assume that you joined today and your main focus of joining today is just on the job support, and you've not even been taught anything in that data science class right now, it's going to be challenging because it's going to derail everybody from the core function of, okay, let's teach Simi first before we now provide this support. Right? But when you land a job and if we can do it judiciously, trust me, someone is going to be there to guide you. But the challenge you have most time is that people abuse this on-the-job support, that you land a job today and then you expect maybe Chukwemeka or someone from our team to work with you on everything on that job. No. But trust me, we're going to dedicate someone that is going to help you fit in seamlessly. But then there's also an expectation from your side that you are going to pick up from there and then handle it and then be asking strategic questions. Okay, I don't know if you understand the picture I'm trying to paint, because people easily abuse this on-the-job support. Okay, people easily abuse it. You are going to be supported. Someone is going to be there to help. For instance, let's assume we had someone that got a job and the person that helped setting up a system for the company. We have someone that got on the call with her, helped her set up the system, and then everything was flowing. And then she had to take it up from there. Now, the challenge most time is now that, okay, we've stopped this system, and the next day again, you are back. Oh, I've stopped the system, but one of the staff is having issue, this one is having issue, this one is having issue, this one is having issue. Now, that might be a little bit challenging. Okay, because in this sense now, it is no more support. It is us working for you on the job. All right, we are here to support you and provide you with strategic support at any time that you need it. All right, but once it's abused, we're always going to tell you, okay, this one, you're now passing where you're supposed to pass because you're now using us to work instead of you actually working. I don't know if that makes sense now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I
Yeah.
understand. Like, so then talking about cohorts now, like I know different people are transitioning into tech. Like some may already have a knowledge or a grasp of it, and some are already new. Like, oh, so do you provide, like, if someone join any of this cohort, like a one-on-one maybe interaction to know how you can, okay, before the start of the program, I need it, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, okay, these are the things I need, these are the pace at which I can go, so that the person can be kind of like talk to me or explain to me that is what I need. I've tried to pay right now. I think you are
Okay.
doing so I make a payment because I want it. This is what I want. So before
Yes.
starting the cohorts, will you be able to reach someone, be able to reach on to, like, someone like me? I need someone to be able to, like, voice out my mind and tell them some of the things that I might be facing I don't want to share in this group.
Okay, yeah, I understand you clearly. All right, see what it's going to do for me. Simi, we have what we call one-on-one personal consultation. It's entirely free. All right, it happens every day from Monday to Friday. All right, so just look out for the group that you joined from. You'll see it. You'll be asked to book a Calendly link. So choose the time that works for you. And then you have our team right on that call to have conversation with you. Okay? So I think since it's personal, it's something that we may have to take personal with regards to that one-on-one consultation, okay? Yeah, so we give one-on-one consultation for services like this, and I can see other hands being raised now. Guys, if we continue like this, we are just going to sleep here today. Okay, I think last, let me take Yemisi and then we can round up from here. Yemisi, please go ahead. I'm happy to unmute. Yemisi, are you there? Yemisi, if you're speaking, it's very faint.
Okay. No worries.
All right, I think Yemisi is now speaking to us. Okay.
I'm hearing now.
I'm going to meet Yemisi back. All right, so thank you so much, everyone. And so let me continue from where I stopped. Like I mentioned earlier, this discount is not for everyone. It's just for the first 20 people that are able to select their sport. All right, and if you go through the slide, you can also see some of the things that we've done over the years. We got into the Better Catalyzer program because we had one aim, which is how do we get to help more people? Last year, we had 355 people transition from our classroom to land job. Last year alone. Okay, and this year our goal is how do we double that number? And that's why we are getting into some programs to also be able to teach ourselves on how to do better. And when you are done with your own training, you're also going to be presented with a certificate that is fully accredited by the American Council of Training and Development. So even though we mentioned that this is competence over credential, we're also going to provide you those credentials that you need to be able to succeed in this exact terrain. So everything on my slide, they are all success stories of people that have been able to go through this before you. So like I said, please make sure that you fill the attendance form so they can go through those success stories and be able to understand and learn from their own journey. So thank you so much to each and every one of you that have listened to me to this very moment. We are roughly 2 hours, 30 minutes into this discussion. And remember, the discount is not for everyone. I always advise everybody to try as much as possible to secure their spot before the discount is over. And in the group chats that are coming through, they're going to be seeing a link that you are going to be using to book one-on-one consultations for you to speak to us to help you find a particular career path for yourself. So thank you so much once more to everyone. And this is where we draw the curtain for today. Cheers, everyone, and let's have a wonderful day, wonderful afternoon, or wonderful night rest out there. Bye, guys.